Thank you so much. Let me do Mangalarti first and then start. I hope I am audible.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सवधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगना ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। मुखं करोति वाचलं भंगं लंघयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरं। हरि ओम तत्सत्। Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I'll share screen. Thank you. I'm honored to be part of this group, and I really cherish the association of Ramananda Kanai Prabhu and obviously all of you as well. And today you have given me a wonderful set of or subs few set of verses, and I actually do a repetition also. Verse 69 of chapter 16 Madhya lila Chaitanya Charitamrita and 70 were done earlier, but because this is part of one subsection, and this subsection is about Lord Chaitanya's talks with Kulin Gram devotees. So I'll also cover that so that there is a continuity. So text 69 goes like this. Kulin grami purvavat koilo nivedon Prabhu agga karo amar kartobya sadhan. The translation goes like this. As in the previous year, one of the inhabitants of Kulingram submitted a petition to the Lord saying, My Lord, kindly tell me what my duty is and how I should execute it. So the moment I saw this verse, that is the reason why like I couldn't um, um, like I had to go go through this verse also because it led me to another question, similar sort of a question by Sanatan Goswami to Lord Chaitanya, and you will find there is a link between this particular verse from Madhya Lila chapter 20 verse 102. Ke ami kene amaye jare trapotroy tapotroy ইহা নাহি জানি কেমনে হিত হয়. Who am I? Why do the threefold miseries always give me trouble? If I do not know this, how can I be benefited? Just imagine the advantage of these devotees. They are associates of Lord Chaitanya, and they are able to ask Lord Chaitanya directly questions. Just like Arjuna, he could ask Krishna questions. Sadhi mam tvam prapannam. So, Shishyaste ham sadhimam tvam prapannam. I mean, these devotees are not ordinary. So, that is the reason why we have so much to learn from them and so much of purification that happens when we go through these verses. Then Lord Chaitanya in verse 108 of the same chapter talks about Swarup Jnana. Very, very important point. Swarup Jnana means understanding about our constitutional position. Jivero Swarup hoy, Krishnero Nitya Das, Krishnero Tatashta Shakti, Veda Ved Prakash. It is the living entity's constitutional position to be an eternal servant of Krishna. Because he is the marginal energy of Krishna and a manifestation simultaneously one with and different from the Lord. So this is an important point, eternal servant of Krishna. And you will find, obviously a question can come in your mind. Doesn't a question come in your mind? Okay, eternal servant of Krishna. A cow is also an eternal servant. Peacock feather of the Lord is also eternal servant. Then servant of Nanda Maharaj's palace, he is also eternal servant. All the cowherd boys are also eternal servant. Then Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mai and all the all the elderly gopis and elderly gopas, they are eternal servants. And all the gopis also eternal servant. Then where are we? Where do we fit? So hopefully we will be able to discuss about this in this using these few verses that you have entrusted with to me. Then obviously in Bhagavad Gita we find in chapter 15 verse 7 Mamai Mangsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Srila Prabhupada many times he talks about parts and parcels. We are all parts and parcels of Krishna. So I keep asking devotees, okay, all right, we understand what are parts. So Mamai Vangsho. Vangsho means Amsa. We are Amsas of Krishna, but we are like separated Amsas of Krishna. And our eternal position is to be an eternal servant of Krishna. That's very. I also ask them, what is this parcel all about? Then there are few devotees who come to who are able to say the parcel means Krishna is also spiritual, we are also spiritual. So this entire discussion, Krishna conscious discussion, is actually in the spiritual plane. It has nothing to do with subtle plane or gross plane. Next verse 70. প্রভু কহে বৈষ্ণব সেবা নাম সংকীর্তন দুই করো শীঘ্র পাবে শ্রীকৃষ্ণ চরণ. That means, translation goes like this. The Lord replied, you should engage yourself in the service of the servants of Krishna. So we know like there is another instruction of Lord Chaitanya, Dasanu Dasa. Yes, we are supposed to be, that should be our mood. And always chant the holy name of Krishna. This is very beautiful. Always chant. If you do these two things, you will very soon attain shelter at Krishna's lotus feet. So we'll have to understand, always chant the holy name of Krishna, and obviously like serving the servants of Krishna. Both these aspects we will have to cover in this particular session. We know that there is one particular very interesting verse, Jive Daya Name Ruchi Vaishnav Sevan Iha Chara Dharmo Nahi Shuno Sanatan. So Lord Chaitanya is telling Sanatan Goswami, kindness to all living beings, that is compassion. We found that in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna had compassion, but his compassion went into a wrong direction. Ultimately, Srila Prabhupada out there in chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, verse 1 purport, he says, compassion should be for the soul, the conditioned soul, where our compassion should actually be directed to, and not to like our body, our family, our society, our community, something like that. Taste for the holy name, see, it matches with the earlier verse, the main verse of this particular chapter. And service to Vaishnavas, this also matches, because service to servants of Krishna, the servants of Krishna are basically Vaishnavas. Apart from this, there is no other religion. So this is very, very strong. And it relates to chapter 18, verse 66 of Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharman parityajya. Krishna. So just imagine what Krishna is expecting. Krishna is expecting very, very difficult stuff. Fortunately, we have Lord Chaitanya and we are doing Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Lord Chaitanya is like very freely distributing Krishna prema, and we will understand while we go through these verses. Now, the verse where I have been asked to um, start off is verse 71. তেহ কহে কে বৈষ্ণব কি তার লক্ষণ তবে হাসি কহে প্রভু জানি তার মন. So this is very interesting. You will see the translation. The inhabitant of Kulingram said, "Please let me know who is actually a Vaishnava and what his symptoms are." Understanding his mind, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiled. He's Lord only, na? He's Krishna, nahe anya. He's Radha Krishna, nahe anya. And gave the following reply. So I tried to find out Lord smiling. Let me see how many, where are, in Bhagavatam, where are, or other places, where is the Lord, I mean, or his incarnation smiling. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 21.138, I find Krishna's body is a city of attractive features and it's sweeter than sweet. His face, which is like the moon, is sweeter still. And supremely sweet, gentle smile on that moon-like face is like rays of moonshine. So very nice. So gentle smile. Again, Madhya Lila, chapter 21, 138, purport we find Srila Prabhupada is writing, the smile on Krishna's face, which is just like the smiling of the moon, generates greater and greater happiness for the gopis. So, in chapter 18, verse 66 of Bhagavad Gita purport, Srila Prabhupada has highlighted 6 principles of surrender. Yes, one of them is Goptritya Baran, means be as helpless like the gopis. So, we have to understand what are the qualities of the gopis. Because ultimately, like, we'll have to follow their footsteps, correct? So that's it. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, verse 44, about Krishna, Suta Goswami is saying, the Lord thus hearing the prayers of Kunti Devi. Now here Kunti Devi is obviously like a very elevated personality, composed in choice words for his glorification, mildly smiled. That smile was as enchanting as his mystic power. Correct? Then comes the Virat Rupa. It's not only the Lord, Krishna, but also his expansions and his incarnations. So Virat Rupa, they say in Canto 2, Chapter 1, verse 31, they say, Srimad Bhagavatam. Oh, I missed this. Okay. They say that the Vedic hymns are the cerebral passage of the Lord, and his jaws of teeth are Yama, god of death, who punishes the sinners. The art of affection is his set of teeth, and the most alluring, illusory material energy is his smile. Here it is mentioned as illusory material energy. So Lord is giving a smile. Two things Lord does. One is side glance and smile. There are two things. And both of them are actually transcendental. But when Virat Rupa does that, then it is like the illusory material energy, which actually like, or Maya for that matter, which is Daivi hi aisa gunamai mama Maya duratya. That the source of this particular illusory material energy is the smile of Virat Rupa. This great ocean of material creation is but the casting of his glance over us. And about Vishnu in Canto 2, Chapter 9, verse 19, I actually like very recently revised this particular canto, and I like this particular canto so much about Brahmaji. And seeing Brahma present before him, Garvodakshai Vishnu, the Lord accepted him as worthy to create living beings, to be controlled as he desired, and thus being much satisfied with him, the Lord shook hands with Brahma and slightly smiling addressed him thus. So there are two things he did. One is shaking hands and two is smiling. When Gopkumar went to Goloka, from far he could see Krishna. What did Krishna do? He ran after Krishna. Krishna ran after Gopkumar. Both of them hugged, embraced each other, rolled on the ground. All right, because there is an element of relationship out there in Goloka. But here, what is Paramatma doing? Paramatma is only shaking hands. That's the maximum that Paramatma does. Otherwise, Paramatma is what? Upadrashta anumanta, matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Very, very important words, by the way. Both these factors are very important to understand. This is it. When we go to bed every night, actually it is night time out here. It is 12 o'clock midnight. No, 12:24 after midnight. I don't know what is the timing for Rashesh Prabhu. So now, when we go to bed, do we remember our names? We don't remember our names or our identity. Maybe some dreams we see, but names, we forget our names. When early morning we wake up, then we again remember our names. Who makes us remember our names? Matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. So that is what Paramatma does for us. So the Lord, I mean, every moment we see the presence of the Lord and the influence of the Lord. So again, Canto 3, Chapter 8, verse 27, we find Mukhena lokarti haras mitena. Smita is basically like the smile. He also acknowledged the service of the devotees and vanquished their distress by his beautiful smile. The reflection of his face, decorated with earrings, was so pleasing because it dazzled with the rays from his lips and the beauty of his nose and eyebrows. So there is this beautiful smile. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada is writing, the devotees are ever satisfied by the smiling face of the Lord, and they become enlivened. And by seeing the devotees so enlivened, the Lord himself is further satisfied. So there is continuous transcendental competition between the Lord and his devotees by such reciprocation of service and acknowledgement. So what type of devotees are these? These are Siddha devotees. Siddha means Nitya Siddhas or Sadhana Siddha or Kripa Siddha. There are three types of devotees who have reached perfection stage. So these are the devotees that Srila Prabhupada is talking of. Then in Canto 3, Chapter 28, verse 32, we find Hasam Harer Avanatakhila Lokativra Shokashuru Sagara Vishoshanam Atyudaram. The yogi should similarly meditate on the most beautiful smile of Lord Sri Hari, a smile which, for all those who bow to him, dries away the ocean of tears caused by intense grief. So that's what the smile does. Then in the next verse, we find with devotion steeped in love and affection, the yogi should meditate within the core of his heart upon the laughter of Lord Vishnu. The laughter of Vishnu is so captivating that it can be easily meditated upon. When the Supreme Lord is laughing, one can see his small teeth, which resemble jasmine buds rendered rosy by the splendor of his lips. Once devoting his mind to this, the yogi should no longer desire to see anything else. When you go to Radha Ramanji in Vṛndāvana, you will find there are times when Radha Ramanji shows his teeth, small teeth. And most of the time he is like his lips are closed. But when he is, that means most probably Radha Ramanji is smiling or he must be laughing. Correct? He must be laughing, smiling because of some devotee, some very intimate relationship which would be happening. Or maybe he would be laughing for what reason, who knows. Yeah. Canto 4, Chapter 24, verse 46. Lord Shiva glorified the Supreme Lord to Prachetas. The Lord's beauty resembles a dark cloud during the rainy season. As the rainfall glistens, his bodily features also glisten. Indeed, he is the sum total of all beauty. The Lord has four arms and an exquisitely beautiful face with eyes like lotus petals, a beautiful, highly raised nose, a mind attracting smile, a beautiful forehead, and equally beautiful and fully decorated ears. So this mind attracting smile. And 10.42.1, Canto 10, Chapter 42, verse 1. Krishna, when he met Trivakra is Kubja in Mathura. Sukdev Goswami said, as he walked down the king's road, Lord Madhava then saw a young hunchback woman with an attractive face who carried a tray of fragrant ointments as she walked along. The bestower of the ecstasy of love smiled and inquired from her as follows. So, like that. So I found that lot of places we can find that the Lord is smiling. Here also Lord Chaitanya is smiling. Then he answered, কৃষ্ণ নাম নিরন্তর যাহার বদন সেই বৈষ্ণব শ্রেষ্ঠ ভজন তাহার চরণে বদনে and চরণে. So nirantar, nirantar means always. So a person who is always chanting the holy name of the Lord is to be considered a first class Vaishnava, and your duty is to serve his lotus feet. Now we have to understand who is the one chanting the holy name of the Lord always. Always means you can say 24 hours. Yes. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that any Vaishnava who is constantly chanting the holy name of the Lord should be considered to have attained the second platform of Vaishnavism. What is the second platform? So in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, we have this verse. ये केनापि अति भाग्येन जात श्रद्धो अस्य सेवने नाति सको न वैराग्य भाग अश्याम अधिकारी असौ. When one is not too attached, nati sakto, to or detached, vairagya bhag, from this material world, and by some good fortune of association with devotees develops faith, jata shraddho, in the service of Krishna's lotus feet, Ashya Sevane, he is considered to possess to be qualified adhikari of devotional service. So we have heard about these three types of adhikaris. One is like Kanishtadhikari, Madhyamadhikari, and Uttamadhikari. And what is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada saying? Srila? So he is saying that one who is able to chant constantly is a Madhyamadhikari. A Madhyamadhikari has strong and convinced faith, like Uttam Adhikari. Uttam Adhikari, the difference between Uttam Adhikari and Madhyam Adhikari is Uttam Adhikari has strong knowledge, can defeat opposing opinion. Madhyam Adhikari has good knowledge, but can't always defeat opposing opinion. So a Madhyam Adhikari is ideally supposed to hand over cases to Uttam Adhikari for handling. Similar to, for example, in the material world also, we have professional counselors or we have professional psychologists. So if there is a case, a devotee care case that comes, then we prepare the facts of the case, and then we hand over to professional psychologists so that they can talk to the devotees who have psychological issues. Similar concept. So Madhyam Adhikari also, we are supposed to be reaching out to Uttam Adhikari for guidance. So these three Adhikaris, Uttam Adhikaris has strong faith and strong knowledge, fully convinced of the scriptures, can firmly defeat opposing opinions, can also enlighten and convince others. So he is a leader and guide for others on the path of devotion. He is not an administrative leader on the path of devotion. Correct. Madhyamadhikari has strong faith but moderate knowledge, convinced of the scriptures, may not always be able to defeat opposing opinions, seeks association and guidance to increase knowledge. He is steady in faith and progressing towards greater realization. Kanishtadhikari has weak faith, weak knowledge, easily gets influenced by others, cannot present strong arguments against opposing opinions, prone to doubt and confusion. He needs guidance, study, and satsanga to strengthen his faith and knowledge. So, by advancing from Kanishta to Madhyama to Uttama, one becomes qualified to practice and attain pure devotional service. These are all slides from Nectar of Devotion. So, I, so I mean, you would have already. I mean, it's. I mean, not something new for all of you. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there is a verse, chapter 2, verse 18 of first division. Tatra Madhyama. Who is a Madhyama? The devotee who is not fully conversant with scriptures and not an expert in arguing with challengers based on scriptures, but has firm faith in scriptures and Krishna Bhakti is known as Madhyamadhikari. And Lord Chaitanya has also instructed Sanatana Goswami about this in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 22.67. Shastro Yukti Nahi Jane Dhriro Shraddhavan Madhyamadhikari Sei Ma Bhagavan. One who is not very expert in argument and logic based on the revealed scriptures, but who has firm faith, is considered a second class devotee. He also must be considered most fortunate. Now, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he has compiled Chaitanya Charitamrita. And obviously, like Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Rupa Goswami would have been there with him, and he would have read through. Plus, he would have also discussed all this particular topic with Raghunath Das Goswami. And Raghunath Das Goswami, when he was there in Jagannath Puri, would have learned from Swarup Damodar all these tattva issues. Correct? From Nectar of Devotion, we find the second class devotee has been defined by the following symptoms. He is not very expert in arguing on the strength of revealed scripture, but he has firm faith in the objective. The purport of this description is that second class devotee has firm faith in the procedure of devotional service unto Krishna, but he may sometimes fail to offer arguments and decisions on the strength of revealed scripture to an opposing party. But at the same time, he is still undaunted within himself as to his decision that Krishna is the supreme object of worship. Srila Prabhupada expects that all of us in the movement at least attain this Madhyamadikari stage. And one should not be feeling insulted or feeling low when one is not able to like handle opposing opinions. Doesn't matter. We can always refer to Uttama Adhikaris, but we should be continuing our preaching process. Madhyamadikari is described in Bhagavatam, 11, Canto 11, Chapter 2, verse 46. The Madhyamadikari is a devotee who worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the highest object of love, makes friends with the Lord's devotees, is merciful to the ignorant, and avoids those who are envious by nature. So, Prema, Maitri, Kripa, Upeksha, this is a very powerful aspect of a Madhyamadikari, quality of a Madhyamadikari. He shows Prema to the Supreme Lord, Maitri to friends, to devotees, Kripa to common people who are innocent people, and upeksha to those who are envious or who are detrimental to the movement. So it's like that. But we are basically like a preaching movement. Many times what happens, even those who are argumentative, we can always offer them prasadam and let them participate in some festivals and make them meet Uttamadhikaris so that they can also be transformed. So, Prema, Maitri, Kripa, Upeksha. Oftentimes, I ask one question to devotees: when you go to a temple, what is it that you see? Most of the devotees say we see the deities. Many other devotees say something else. We see the deities. Then my next question comes: okay, when you see the deity, what do you see? So, deity, beautiful deity from the feet onwards to the head, and all we see, and so nice dress we see, garlands we see, flowers we see, so many things we see. Then I ask them, what else do you see? So the question is, those who have actually like dressed the deity, don't we see them? Obviously we don't see them, but we can visualize that somebody has done the dressing, and the dressing is so wonderful. So we appreciate the devotee. Obviously we appreciate those who are in the kitchen, who are cooking, and who are offering, and who are doing the worship. All that we are doing. So deity and devotee. um, I mean, I'll touch upon what does a Kanishtadhikari do. Then we will, I mean, it will become clearer. Because Kanishtadhikari will not do all this. And then, obviously, Kripa. DT is also helping in Kripa. How does it help in Kripa? A newcomer becomes very attracted to the DT and gets attached to the movement. Yes, even a preacher also gets attracted to the deity and gets inspired to preach to the newcomers. So like that. So kripa is also, the deity is also trying to spread kripa. And I've seen there are many new temples. Say there is one new temple where I was serving in the DT department, and the DTs were not there in that ground. The DTs were installed. The day the deities were installed, like miracles started happening. Gaur Nitai, Nitai Gauranga, they were installed. So miracles, lot of miracles started happening. Government people started coming and supporting, and so many things started happening. So mind blowing. The deities are very live, and they actually reciprocate. Such a devotee is superior to a neophyte Vaishnava who has just learned to chant the holy name of the Lord. A neophyte devotee simply tries to chant the holy name, whereas the advanced devotee is accustomed to chanting and takes pleasure in it. So, a neophyte devotee would have just started. Maybe like a neophyte devotee will do one round and then gradually progress to two rounds, one round Shraddhavan, four rounds Krishna Sevak, Krishna Sadak, and then like that. Will progress and all. To Srila Prabhupada Ashraya. His Holiness Bhanu Swami Maharaj is also, he has written a, actually like he has given some lectures where he has been mentioning that there should be a Sri Chaitanya Ashraya between Srila Prabhupada Ashraya and Guru Ashraya. Because the movement has to understand this movement is because of Lord Chaitanya. And the Chaitanya, so because we are doing Chaitanya Charitamrita, that is the reason why I just pointed out this particular thought process, which has been mooted by His Holiness Bhanu Swami Maharaj. Okay. Such an advanced devotee is called Madhyama Bhagavat, which indicates that he has attained the intermediate stage between the neophyte and the perfect devotee. Now, the neophyte devotee in Bhakti Rasamrita says, he who has weak faith and has little knowledge of scripture is Kanishta. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, we find Madhya Lila 22.69, one whose faith is soft and pliable is called a neophyte. So someone can also influence them to move out of the system. But by gradually following the process, he will rise to the platform of a first class devotee. Obviously, he will have to become a Madhyama and then ultimately Uttamadhikari. Generally, a devotee in the intermediate stage becomes a preacher. This Srila Prabhupada is writing in this purport. A neophyte devotee or an ordinary person should worship the Madhyama Bhagavat, who is a via medium. In Upadeshamrita, verse 5, Srila Rupa Goswami is saying, this verse I have captured, Praniti vischa bhajantam isam. This means that Madhyamadikari devotees should be exchanging obeisances between themselves. So, my obeisances to all of you. Yeah, one should mentally honor the devotee. This is the verse 5 translation. The from Nectar of Instruction. The devotee who chants the holy name of Lord Krishna, one should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation, diksha, and is engaged in worshipping the deity, and one should associate with and faithfully serve that pure devotee who is advanced in undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. Then Srila Prabhupada writes about this word nirantara. Nirantara means always, without cessation, continuously, constantly. But there is one word, antara, which is hidden in this nirantara. So antara, Srila Prabhupada is expanding. What is this antara? Means interval. So if one has desires other than a desire to perform devotional service, in other words, if one sometimes engages in devotional service and sometimes strives for sense gratification, his service will be interrupted. And then Srila Prabhupada quotes this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, what Paribhas verse means the most important verse of that book. Anya Vilasita Sunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavritam Anukulyana Krishna Anusilanam Bhakti Ruttama. So, in this particular verse, this is the platform of pure devotional service. That is the first class devotion. There are two aspects of this particular verse. The top line is called Tatastha Lakshan, means secondary characteristics, and the second line is Swarup Lakshan, that is the primary characteristic. Primary characteristic, we see the word Krishna. So it has to do with Krishna. And whenever we talk of Krishna, we also mean his devotees, his incarnations, his pastimes, and his paraphernalia, everything for that matter. And then Anukulyana means favorable. It should be favorable. And anusilanam is a very powerful word. We will discuss anusilanam. But before that, there is anya vilasita sunyam. We know, we have done in details what is the meaning of anya vilasita sunyam. And obviously, like all the mundane desires we should not have, but we can desire, just like Gajendra had a desire for protection, and then Dhruva Maharaj had some. Dhruva Maharaj desire was artho desire, means artharthi desire. Gajendra was artho desire, but some desire for protection is acceptable, and mercy of the Lord is also acceptable. So anya vilasita sunyam, jnana karmadi anavritam. Jnana is not acceptable for pure devotional service. Karma kanda is also not acceptable. The fruitive activities. Adi means all yogas and mystic power and all that is also not acceptable for pure devotional service. Anusilanam is very, very important. Anusilanam means mm, serve, to serve the Lord and to please the Lord. Bhakti is not passive. Bhakti has some active engagement, some reference, some unfavorable aspects which need to be discarded. And bhakti is most important. It is an active engagement, and it involves body, mind, and words. It includes pravritti, nivritti, active engagement, restraint from unfavorable. And the channels are body, mind, and words. Bhakti recognizes the entire behavioral system. So this is bhakti. So, to this particular thought came when this particular verse I found in this particular purport. Then Antara, Srila Prabhupada has pointed out regarding Antara. Antara is this body. The body is an impediment to self-realization because it is always engaged in sense gratification. So which body? This material body, physical body, this gross body and the subtle body. We have to understand the gross body and subtle body to be able to. There are two things. Either you discard the body, anyway, at death, the gross body gets discarded, but that is not what a devotee is driving towards. A devotee is driving towards transforming this body. For example, Narad Muni in Canto 1, Chapter 5, we find that he attained a spiritual body while in this material world itself. So that's the type of body. Srila Prabhupada once he returned from Africa, and when one comes from Africa, one has to be given those days, yellow fever injection. And Srila Prabhupada never took that injection. When he was asked for the certificate, he said that I do not need yellow fever injection because my body is spiritual. My body is not material. Hare Krishna. Antara also means money. If money is not used in Krishna's service, it is an impediment. Antara means janata or people in general. Association of ordinary persons may destroy the principles of devotional service. Nectar of instruction gives so many sanga tyagat sato vritte and all that. Yes, antara may mean greed. Greed to acquire more money or enjoy more sense gratification. Atyahara. In again nectar of instruction we find this. Finally, the word antara also means atheistic ideas, like one considers the temple deity to be made of stone, wood, or gold. All of these are impediments. The deity in the temple is not material. He is the supreme personality of Godhead himself. A kanishta adhikari is better than these type of antara type of people. Kanishta adhikari will have at least faith on the deity. Yes. Similarly, considering the spiritual master an ordinary human being is also an impediment. Then one should never consider a Vaishnava a member of a particular caste or nation, nor should a Vaishnava be considered material. Charnamrita should not be considered ordinary drinking water. Charnamrita can be equated to Pada Sevanam. And the holy name of the Lord should not be considered an ordinary sound vibration. So this is obviously one of the offenses of the 10 offenses of the holy name. Nor should one look on Lord Krishna as an ordinary human being, for he is the origin of all Vishnu tattvas. Apichet su duracharo. So those type of people will obviously. No, not apichet su duracharo. This is like those who are mudhas. What? Uh, whatever.
Avajananti Mamudha Prabhuji.
Vajananti Mamuda. Thanks so much. Those are the ones who will consider Lord Krishna to be ordinary human beings. Nor should one regard the Supreme Lord as as a demigod. So we know from chapter 9, verse 25, how like if you worship a demigod, you go to the Devabrata. So the demigod's place. But if you worship the Supreme Lord, then you go to Supreme Abode. Intermingling the spiritual with the material causes one to look on transcendence as material and the mundane as spiritual. This is all due to a poor fund of knowledge. So avidya, nectar of devotion says, is the root cause of all suffering, because avidya leads to papam, avidya leads to bijam, papam bijam. Correct. One should not consider bijam is because of sinful activities in the past. So there are sinful proclivities, kutam, and then sinful desires, bijam. One should not consider Lord Vishnu and things related to him as being different. All this is offensive. So there is one particular verse from Bhakti Sandarbha of Srila Jiva Goswami where the translation goes like this. In the verse beginning Namaikam Yasya, we find the word pasanda, godlessness. The word literally indicates misuse of one's body or property, but in that verse it implies the 10 offenses against the Lord's holy name, since each of these lead to such godless behavior. So Srila Prabhupada has actually expanded this particular nirantara and taken out the word antara and given us some idea about what is the difference between nirantara and antara. The Mayavadis look on Vishnu and Vaishnavas imperfectly due to their poor fund of knowledge, and this is condemned. This is also like part of antara. There is more on Madhyamadhikari, which we find in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 2, verse 46. And we have discussed this, Prema Maitri Kripa Upeksha. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 22.64, Sanatan Goswami is saying, Shraddhavan Jon Hai Bhakti Adhikari Uttam Madhyam Kanishto Shraddha Anusari. So basically, like we come to know about the three categories of devotees. Shastro Jukti Nahi Jane Dhriro Shraddhavan Madhyamadhikari Shei Mahabhagavan. So we understand that one who has attained the intermediate stage is not very advanced in Shastric knowledge, but he has firm faith in the Lord. Such a person is very fortunate to be situated on the intermediate platform. This is like a repetition only. Then Ruti Prem Tarotamme Bhakto Tarotamo, attraction and love for God are the ultimate goal of devotional service. The degrees of such attraction and love distinguish the different stages of devotion: neophyte, intermediate, and perfectional. So, this attraction develops because of mercy of pure devotees. Mercy of pure devotees, that is mostly the starting point. Then attraction comes. Many times, what happens? Agyat Sukriti is also there. Past life one has done devotional service. This life one gets a devotee. And then the attraction develops. Now, obviously, after that, knowledge and faith. This is the way roadmap to devotional service. Yes, an intermediate devotee is greatly attracted to chanting the holy name, and by chanting, he is elevated to the platform of love. So we know this particular famous verse of Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 23 chapter, verse 14 and 15. Ado Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sango, like that. So there is all this levels. So there is obviously Bhajana Kriya. Bhajana Kriya, there is at the Bhajana Kriya stage, we commit ourselves and we perform the 64 limbs of devotional service as given in Nectar of Devotion. We actually don't perform all of them. At least we perform the Navavidha Bhakti. Not even Navavidha Bhakti. At least we perform those five most potent: Sadhu Sangha, Nam Kirtan, Bhagavad Shravan, Mathura Vas, Sri Vigraha Sevan. Mathura Vas I always relate to preaching. Why? Because Bhakti Vinod Thakur has said that any house where Sankirtan Yagya is happening is not different from Vaikuntha. So that also is Mathura Vas. So Bhajan Kriya after that is a very, very important stage which is called Anartha Nivriti. Then comes Nishtha. Nishtha is determined faith. Ruchi is taste. Asakti is attachment to Krishna, instead of having attachment to the material reality, material conception, attachment to Krishna, then one progresses to bhava and prema. Mercy factor obviously works in a very, very big way. Canto 1, chapter 2, verse 18, I have both that antara concept also I have tried to capture, plus nirantara concept also I've tried to capture some related verses. Nashta prayashva abhadreshu is like how the antara can be removed. Nityam bhagavata sevaya, how antara can be removed? By nirantara. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Correct? And the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes. So please listen to this very carefully, because here I have written out here in the group that one secret by Srila Prabhupada I'll reveal. So in the purport, in one, not actually in the purport, in one of the lectures, so I have to capture that lecture, I'm sorry. He says, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Nashta Prayashva Abhadreshu. So Nashta Prayashva Abhadreshu is like the word Praya, Srila Prabhupada is highlighting. Nashta Praya, Praya and Nashta. Praya Nashta means almost removed, almost gone. Nashta, not that I am completely free from all sinful activities, but prayeshu means say 50%, 60% is gone. Correct? At that time, nashta prayeshu, prayeshu abhadreshu. How it has come to take place? Nityam bhagavata sevaya. So 50-60% is has gone away. Anartha nivriti has happened. Anarthas are of four types. One is sinful activities, pious activities, then puja la pratishtha, and aparats, all the different types of offenses. So 50-60% have gone. So Srila Prabhupada is writing. Then Srila Prabhupada is actually saying, then as soon as prior 75 per, he also adds 80% of your unwanted things are given up, and then your naisthiki, firm, steady devotional attitude develops. I showed this particular chart just to present to you Nishtha stage. At Nishtha stage, Srila Prabhupada is saying, happens when Anartha Nibriti 75 to 80% goes away. There's clear evidence of Srila Prabhupada. As you chant, try to hear each word very carefully and always complete your 16 rounds. Regular and attentive chanting, along with following the four regulative principles, pure. Simply by following these principles and chanting Hare Krishna, one can make his life successful and perfect. This is a letter to Toshana, Calcutta, February 20, 1972. So attentive chanting. When do we do attentive chanting? At Nishtha stage. So dear devotees, at least I know my goal is attentive chanting. Correct. where I am, in spite of retiring, doing Krishna consciousness, the basic foundation is like very, very loose for me. So please pray for me that I can at least attain attentive chanting. Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 23, Verse 7, purport. In Kali Yuga, the following is recommended. Obviously, Hare Nama is recommended. In order to be recognized by Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one should chant the holy name of the Lord continuously, 24 hours a day. So this is not Nishtha stage, by the way. Anyatha, Gatir Anyatha. So this is like Kevalam. This is 24 hours a day. So that is which stage? This is Asakti stage. So once one has attained Nishtha stage, one very easily will go to Ruchi stage. And I normally say Ruchi means when you don't want to stop at 16 rounds. You want to progress. Correct? Because Srila Prabhupada never said 16 rounds. He said minimum 16 rounds. So he highlighted that word minimum. In his Sikshashtakam, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wrote Param Vijayati Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. All glories to the holy names of Lord Krishna, which from the very beginning purify the heart and immediately liberate one. Bhava Mahadavagne Nirvapanam. If the real purpose of all yoga is to please Lord Krishna, then this simple Bhakti Yoga system recommended for this age is sufficient. It is necessary, however, to engage constantly in the service of the Lord. So this Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Then regarding Trinadapi verse, one who thinks himself lower than the grass, one who is more tolerant than a tree, who does not expect personal honor, yet is always prepared to give all respect to others, and very easily chant the holy name of the Lord. Kirtaniya Sada Hari. Always chant the holy name of the Lord. So this is also what stage? This is also Asakti stage. Yes? There is, this particular pastime of Gopal Guru in Odisha. So I just for the sake of understanding, because this chanting of the holy name of the Lord does not depend on any time, place, and circumstance, purity or impurity, pure situation, impure situation. There is this devotee who was holding his mouth because he was continuously, incessantly, he was chanting, muttering Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Then the small boy, Gopal, he asked him, why are you stopping your chanting? Because chanting should be done always. If you were not able to chant while defecating, how would you be able to have an auspicious death? This is what this small boy is telling Gopal, that devotee. Should death suddenly come upon him at that time? So I captured this from some internet source. Yes. Now comes the secret, the real secret. What is the real secret? Now we are what are we talking of? We are talking of Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. We are talking of constant chanting, 24 hours chanting. What happens? If one chants the holy name of the Lord with great attachment, he can understand his position as an eternal servant of the spiritual master, other Vaishnavas, and Krishna himself. We discussed about Swarup Jnana in verse 69, means knowledge about what is our Swarupa, means what is our spiritual identity. Here in Narada Bhakti Sutra, verse 2, Srila Prabhupada is writing, at Asakti, the devotee can understand his eternal relationship with Krishna. This relationship becomes progressively experienced through bhava and culminates in prema. So what is it? Purport says, if one is fortunately able to rise to the stage of nishtha, after vanquishing all misgivings wrought by material existence, he can then rise to the stage of attachment, which is the beginning of love of Godhead. By progressing, one attains a more advanced stage of relishing a reciprocal exchange between the Lord and himself. Every living entity is eternally related to the Supreme Lord, and this relationship is one of the many different transcendental relationships. At the stage called asakti or attachment, one can understand his relationship with the Supreme Lord. Understanding one's position in relationship with the Lord is the beginning of reciprocation. By constant reciprocation between the Lord and the devotee, one is elevated to the highest stage of love of Godhead. So, dear devotees, it is like this. At asakti stage, when we do 24-hour chanting, then there is a possibility of revelation of what is our spiritual identity. And at bhava stage, that spiritual identity will manifest into relationship. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 8.83, it is said that it is true that whatever relationship a particular devotee has with the Lord is the best for him. Still, so obviously there are many. The purport is in presenting these verses necessitates explaining the comparative positions of the transcendental mellows known as Santa, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. We know that these are the primary rasas. All these rasas or mellows are situated on the transcendental platform. Pure devotees take shelter of one of them and thus progress in spiritual life. Actually, one can take shelter of such spiritual mellows only when one is completely uncontaminated by material attachment. When one is completely free from material attachment, the feelings of the transcendental mellows are awakened in the heart of the devotee. That is Swarup Siddhi. the perfection of one's eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. Swarup Siddhi, the eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord, may be situated in any one of the transcendental mellows. So, a Madhyamadikari has a great opportunity to attain Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti. And then obviously, then mercy factor plays a role. The intermediate Vaishnava considers himself Krishna Das, Krishna's servant. He therefore preaches Krishna consciousness to innocent neophytes and stresses the importance of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. An intermediate devotee can identify the non-devotee or motivated devotee. The motivated devotee or non-devotee are on the material platform and they are called Prakrita. The intermediate devotees does not mix with such materialistic people. However, he understands that the Supreme Personality of Godhead and everything related to him are on the same transcendental platform. Actually, none of them are mundane. So we know in Bhagavatam also is talking about Kaler Dosha Nidhe Rajan, and that is the verse 51 of chapter 3, canto 12, and the last verse of Bhagavatam, Nam Sankirtanam Yasya. So it's basically like chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Few other verses just I'll touch upon because not much of purport is there. বর্ষান্তরে পুনঃ তারা ওইছে প্রশ্ন কইল বৈষ্ণবেরও তারতম্য প্রভু শিখাইল. The following year, the inhabitants of Kulingram again asked the Lord the same question. Hearing this question, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again taught them about the different types of Vaishnavas. যাহার দর্শনে মুখে আইসে কৃষ্ণ নাম তাহারে জানিও তুমি বৈষ্ণব প্রধান. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, a first class Vaishnava is he whose very presence makes others chant the holy name of Krishna. So he is an Uttamadhikari. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, if an observer immediately remembers the holy name of Krishna upon seeing a Vaishnava, that Vaishnava should be considered Mahabhagavat, a first class devotee. So a lot of points regarding Mahabhagavat is there. A Madhyama can progress to become a Mahabhagavat. A Mahabhagavat can turn a living entity from abominable material life to the Lord's service. This is the test of a Mahabhagavat. Although preaching is not meant for a Mahabhagavat can descend to the platform of Madhyama Bhagavat just to convert others to Vaishnavism. Actually, a Mahabhagavat is fit to spread Krishna consciousness, but it does not distinguish where Krishna consciousness should be spread from where it should not. He thinks that everyone is competent to accept Krishna consciousness if the chance is provided. So everybody should be eager to hear from such a Mahabhagavat. Obviously, he is the most advanced devotee, sees within everyone the soul of all souls, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, according to Srimad Bhagavatam. And Lord Chaitanya tells Sanatan Goswami that an Uttamadhikari, first class devotee, is one who is an expert in Vedic literature and has full faith in the Supreme Lord. And he can deliver the whole world and turn everyone to Krishna consciousness. That means he is also one who is following the first verse of Nectar of Instruction, Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam. With great love and affection, the Mahabhagavat observes the Supreme Personality of Godhead, devotional service, and the devotee. He observes nothing beyond Krishna, Krishna consciousness, and Krishna's devotees. Mahabhagavat knows that everyone is engaged in the Lord's service in different ways. He therefore descends to the middle platform to elevate everyone to the Krishna consciousness position. And the last verse of this particular subsection is Kramokori Kahe Prabhu Vaishnav Lakhan Vaishnav or Vaishnavotam. Means in this way, Lord Chaitanya taught the distinctions between different types of Vaishnava. The Vaishnava, which is at the positive platform, Vaishnavatara means comparative platform, and Vaishnavatama, the best superlative platform. He thus successively explained all the symptoms of a Vaishnava to the inhabitants of Kulingram. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to speak some words of Chaitanya Charitamrita. If there are any observations, if there are any realizations and any points, any suggestions for me to improve, please. I welcome you.
Hare Krishna Dandatanam. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for your usual way of actually reciting and going in depth and analyzing word by word and going to the roots of the topic what we are discussing. So that is a very beautiful way of Prabhu. A very generic question, Prabhu. This Anyabhilasha Dashuni. This is a very famous verse, as you mentioned. Um, we generally consider ourselves to be in Krishna consciousness for decades, knowing well, but still, why we are not able to detach from the vasanas, or because we say that anyabhijna shunyam, but what we generally, I'm not generalizing devotees here, but in general, practicing sadhakas, practicing devotees, find it very difficult. Annapishada Shunyam. So we keep this for Krishna. So nothing about Krishna, but everything else we follow. So we do not, we in the sense generally the practicing. So how uh, how to make such sadhakas or practicing devotees? Maybe they are kanishtadikaris, or they think they are in Madhyamadikaris or Uttamadikaris, but they are Kanishtadikaris. So, how to bring back ourselves into the right frame of Anyabhilashidashuni? So, it's actually sometimes I feel it's very difficult process, though it is very simple, but in practice, sometimes appears that it's not easy.
Hare Krishna. See, when we were young children, so we graduated, and then we gave our class 12, and then we went into college, and then we thought that we will enter into some profession. Yes, so there was a intense, there was a goal, and we tried to pursue that goal, and we somehow, few of us attained that goal. Then we had another goal that we'll get into a job, and then there were goals. Throughout our life, we have been through goals. Somebody who is doing business will have also some goals. So similarly in bhakti also we need to have goals. And see, what I have understood in life is, one is our human body, the gross body is so structured. So in medical science, we discuss about our gross body, about our structured body. Our subtle body is also very structured. So you come to know about nadis, chakras, and prana, and mind, the thinking, feeling, willing. What does the intelligence do? All that so wonderful. It's so structured. And I didn't know that bhakti is also structured. While going through, I actually like attended a class by Prem Sindhu Gaurang Prabhu of what Vidyalaya, Mahavidyalaya, Bhagavat Mahavidyalaya of Govardhan, and he opened my eyes. Bhakti is structured. I mean, I never thought from that direction. And when we understand bhakti is structured means we have to now actually look into this particular ladder, starting from Shraddha to Prema. Very nice. We need to have a goal. What is our goal? Our goal should be at least Nishtha. This is what we have understood. Srila Prabhupada is saying Nishtha means you removal of all the anarthas. Till the time these anarthas are there, we will have all these vasanas. What to do? So now we'll have to remove the anarthas. How do we remove the anarthas? Obviously, there are formulas given in Nectar of Devotion, Sadhu Sangha, Nam Kirtan, Bhagavad Shravan. These are very potent methods to remove the anarthas. Why should we perform? Why should we participate in all these processes? Because we should have a goal. At least our initial goal. First goal, we should get into some college, engineering, medical, whatever, similar that. Nishtha should be our first goal. Then our next goal should be asakti. But very easily, if one is at least a madhyamadikari who is doing prema Maitri, Kripa, and Upeksha should be able to have this goal. And then once one has a goal, then the basic principle, which is always remember Krishna, never forget him. That basic principle should be applied. What will happen? We will obviously forget Krishna. Many things will happen, we'll forget Krishna. But we should remind ourselves, Ari, we have forgotten Krishna. So, avyasena konteya. So, what is the avyas we have to do? Are, we draw our minds from wherever we have, mind has got distracted, back to Krishna or holy name of the Lord. Like that. This is what I have understood. Like I don't know whether I myself am able to practice maybe big words, but I seek prayers that I can at least practice like this. Let us all have goal in our life.
So it means that Prabhu, the sadhakas, while we are practicing Krishna consciousness, maybe sometimes we take things for granted. That okay, I become a senior devotee now. I'm in ISKCON for so many years, and this is like we assume that we are practicing, though we are not sometimes. So we sit on Vyasasan and we give nice lectures, compile beautiful points and prepare nice slides, and but we tend to forget that this is applicable for me also.
Absolutely. For
We
example, I'll tell you how I
yeah.
got inspiration. I interacted with one direct disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and he had a sore throat, so he could not speak. So he was chanting in his mind. He stayed at our place. Early morning, 2:30, I suppose, he got up, took his bath and all that. He sat in the DT room, completed his chanting. Mauna. I was stunned. How can somebody chant? I mean, Haridas Thakur could chant 64 rounds in his mind. But 50 years in the movement actually. 1972 he joined. 75 he got initiated. 50 years in the movement. He chanted full 16 rounds over. One place, seated at one place. So why shouldn't we be able to, Western bodied devotee, direct disciple, why shouldn't we take a target like that and pursue? We don't know what will happen. Whether we'll be able to achieve in this lifetime or not, we don't know, but we'll have to take a target. And if we take a target in this, then all our distractions and all will look to be very insignificant. We mostly try to do prajalpa and we try to do criticism, ninda. All that will vanish. And see, its yardstick is like this. Even if one is, say, a senior devotee, administrative head, and things like that, this is the yardstick, whether he has been able to do attentive chanting or not. And who I am, the devotee I am talking of is a spiritual master. And I have seen him. Spiritual master is an administrative head. He has so many disciples with him, under him. He regularly completes his rounds, 16 rounds minimum, without getting up. So, why should, who are we? We are Lilliputs actually in front of these type of devotees. So we should never harbor thoughts like we have become devotees. We are still like trying to become sadhakas.
So the message would be like either we are not taking Krishna consciousness as serious as we are supposed to be, or we are wasting our energy on so many other activities which are not helping us in practicing Krishna consciousness. One of these two must be happening with us. That's why we are not able to have, even sometimes we have the goal, but we never, goal is remained as goal only. So it will never translate into action or the end result where we are heading to. So we are not checking ourselves. So that is a basic thing. We are not checking ourselves, even fixing the goal also. Are we on the right track?
Correct. So that is the reason why we have this mentorship concept and Siksha Guru concept. Siksha Guru is a very, very powerful concept.
Yeah.
We have to very seriously. Actually, who am I talking of is my Siksha Guru, holy name Siksha Guru. So although I am unable to follow him, like I revere him. That's all. I respect him because of the example that he has shown. So one should have mentors. Everybody should have mentors. It's a very, very important factor. And if you, the moment we become independent, then it is equivalent to Nirjan Bhajan.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Devotees, anybody has any questions, comments? So, Prabhu, we can conclude this session.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I have a small question. Like you were telling about the impediments of body, mind, and soul. Related to that, Prabhuji, I have a question that if there is purity in one's heart, in a devotee's heart, and one is trying hard to leave all impediments of body, mind, and soul, which are actually, you said, the biggest hurdle, obstacle to achieve the goal of prema bhakti. Um, if one is trying hard, then everything follows us gradually in bhakti. But how much is the role of focus, and how much is the role of trying hard, or trying hard to achieve the goal of prema bhakti and other things? Like I'm not able to understand with my small mind. You took a very nice class, Prabhuji, and I was trying to take the screenshots, and I request the host, Prabhuji, to please share the recording with us. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
So, I could you repeat the question again? I mean,
Like Prabhuji, like in between, you told us about the impediment of body, mind, and soul. Like we are trying to satisfy our body when we have sense gratification, like eating, and we are attracted towards many things like wearing good clothes and all. These are impediments of body and mind and soul also. Like you were telling the stages, na? We have chakras and all this in the body. Then there are so many obstacles we have in bhakti. But how to, be completely focused
one thing I've
towards
not
your
understood.
purity?
One thing I've not understood. Why are you using the word soul? Soul, are you meaning, because
Yes.
Atma has multiple meanings. Are you meaning Atma as Jivatma?
No, actually, Prabhuji, sorry, I should not have used the word soul. Actually, I'm practicing astrology for past many years, 10 or 11 years. So sometimes, those things also come in like my mind. Actually, body and mind.
Body, mind. Yeah, yeah. See, it is like this. You have to understand one thing. Our body and body is equivalent to gross body, and mind is equivalent to subtle body. This gross body and subtle body are external uh, coverings for us, because if you notice that the Lord, he manifested these material elements, and these material elements were used to give shape to our outer outer look. That's all. But when you actually look at the soul has nothing to do with these material elements, including the consciousness. See, there are two types of consciousness. One consciousness is of the soul, which is a pure consciousness. But today, that soul is covered Soul and super soul is there. In between soul and super soul, there is a covering. It's called Avaran Atmika, covering. Now, which consciousness are we talking of? Is basically the contaminated consciousness, which is different from the pure consciousness of the soul. This contaminated consciousness is contaminated because of the three modes. And this contaminated consciousness makes us identify with the body and with the subtle body, and as well as with the sense objects, which is the reason why all sorts of um, like impediments happen. And these impediments require to be, see, on one hand, there is nivritti, that means these impediments have to be reduced. But it is very difficult to reduce impediments or suddenly automatically. So we'll have to depend on something. So what do we depend on? We depend on holy name, we depend on devotees, we depend on Shastra, we depend on Guru, we depend on Sankirtan, Yagya, and we depend on the deity. So we depend on all these so that our, so there are two things. One is pravriti, means what are the positive things that we do so that our negatives, the impediments go down. That is what we can do. But all that we are doing is in the material plane. Everything has to do in the material plane, nothing to do with the soul. What does the soul do actually? Soul is seeing movie. It's a dream for the soul. All this is whatever is happening, even Jyotish which is happening in this particular material world only. Because all these planetary systems and things like that are what? Part of Virat Rupa. And this it's happening in the material world. They are temporary. The moment there is pralaya, all this is over, gone. And then when there is in manifested state, it is there. But the soul per se is has nothing to do with whatever is the material, including the gross body, the subtle body, chitta, everything, and the sense organs, and sense organs and the sense objects. All this is separate. So this is a movie which is going on continuously in our life, and we are watching that movie. Because of that entity called false ego, we are identifying ourselves. Oh, this movie is like my movie only, but it's actually a movie. Our true nature is Krishna and Nitya Das. That is our true identity. We have forgotten that. We have to revive that. So how do we revive that? Use these as yantra rudhani maya. Use this gross body itself, the subtle body itself, to revive. And how do we use this? There comes, we take the help of Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, we take the help of holy name, we take the help of Bhagavatam, obviously, we take the help of Sankirtan Yagya, we take the help of the deity. I don't know whether I've been able to explain to you how to reduce
But
impediments.
Prabhuji, uh, there is one chapter of Shishumar in Srimad Bhagavatam. Then Prabhuji, we read in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu about Prarabdha, Bijam, Kutam and all. So actually, it's not very clear to me still because I thought it's all life is all a journey of a soul which we experience, you know. So I need to read more about everything, I think.
Yeah, see, it is like this. Shishumar is there, and
Yes,
astrology
sir.
will handle Shishumar very nicely. It will explain everything from Shishumar's point of view. But Shishumar will indicate what? This gross body and subtle body, how it will behave, not the soul. The soul will see dream of what the gross body and the subtle body is doing.
Right,
The
Prabhuji.
gross body will change. Say the gross body will change. Soul will be there, seeing another set of dream. So you have to separate yourself away from all this. Then you will be able to explain yourself very properly.
Right,
So
Prabhuji.
this
Thank you.
concept of seer is then a kshetragya, seer. So we are the seer. We see what's going on. We are not participating in it, but we are seeing what's going on. When we seeing, we think that this is reality, but that is not reality. That's temporary.
But Prabhuji, it is said that we like get bhakti because of our Puru Sukti karmas, like of it is like we continue it in next birth if
Hmm.
it is incomplete and we die.
So that is bhakti. So always you should remember there are three tracks. One track is the gross track. Second is the subtle track. And third is the transcendental track. The gross track, subtle track, the gross track will die. New gross you will get. The subtle track will have ups and downs because you will do some past activities, some sinful activities, some offense, or you will do some good work and things like that. All that will happen. Will go up and down. But the transcendental track is a permanent track. For the transcendental, it is Neha Bhikrama Nashosti, chapter 2, verse 40 of Bhagavad Gita.
Which chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Prabhuji? I will
Chapter
read it.
2, verse 40.
Thanks
Neha
a lot.
Vikrama
Prabhuji.
Nashosti Pratyavayana Vidyate. So, Bhagavad Gita, so devotional track will never perish.
Very nice. This is beautifully explained, Prabhuji. Now it's clear to me. Thanks a lot, Prabhuji. It was a beautiful class. Thanks a
Hare
lot,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. My humble obeisances to you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Bol. Thank you so much, dear devotees. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Let us finally do a Vanchakalpataru Vescha and then glorify Srila Prabhupada Chaitanya Charitamrita. Vanchakalpataru Vescha Kripa Sindhuva Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Nama. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Nitai Gaur